What is up, guys? This is miwin and this is my third part of my motion tracking tutorials. This time I'm showing you Cinema 4D, a little bit about lighting, materials, rendering and all that kind of stuff. So in the first part we made this Cinema 4D file ready to open it up in Cinema 4D, so that's what I'm going to do now. Just double click it. Alright, so what you type in there doesn't really matter unless you use templates for like logos and stuff. I just normally use 30, that's mostly fine to go. So we can put those out so we have our whole timeline, and you see a bunch of dots right here. The first thing we want to do is make our background, so we just double click down here to make a new material and double click on the material. So I have the German version, so you kind of have to go with me looking where I click. So all you have to do here, you can disable this, you don't have to, but you go to the color and to the texture and then you click on it and you open up a folder. Go to the folder where we rendered out all our pictures, and now click on the first picture. Alright, and now I want to show you a mistake a lot of people do. They just close it and then they go up here, make background. I always put the background at the back and then just drag it on there and you have it on there. Now if you go through this the timeline, you don't see any change. Now if that happens to you, you just double click it again. And that's something you do at the beginning normally, but some people tend to forget it. So click on it, go on animation and click calculate at the bottom. And it takes all the pictures you have there. So if we scroll through now, we can actually see a video. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I said I wanted some text up here, so I'm gonna do that. Now, something else which is pretty stupid, but a lot of people do it, is they just go up here, MoGraph, and make text, and then they drag it over here, and then they rotate it, and they think, well, this text is actually placed there, and luckily it is placed there. I can't believe it. Normally that never happens, but oh well. If your text is placed over somewhere else, like, well, I want to show you the best example right now, like this, and you think, well, I can drag it up here, a bit over there, and now it's placed somewhere back there. Well, it isn't, it's in front here. So the best way to actually place it right, find one of these dots, which is in the middle of your text and pretty much near to your text. So if you find one, I want to take this one, go to coordinates and then just copy the coordinates onto your text. So now if you have the coordinates on there, you have your text directly on this dot. So what we want to do is go to object and change the text whatever to middle. So the middle, so the pointy coordinates is in the middle of our text. So now I want to show you something cool. If you can't find a dot, right, you can actually disable your background. And if you have no clue about Cinema 4D, you can just, the top dot is for the render, for the preview, and the bottom is for the render. So if we make the bottom red, nothing will happen, but if we render it, we have our background. We don't have our background. So I just wanna disable it for the preview. And now we always get this folder in Boujou top null. If we click on this plus here, we have our camera in here, and on the other plus we just have all our dots, right? So we want to disable, we want to close that. So go on our camera, and what we can do now is click on the little white thing here, and we jump out of our camera, as we can see. And then if we scroll through the timeline, we can see our camera going around and stuff, you know. now we should be able to see kind of our scene. Should be possible to do. Well, it actually works a little bit like we have our helicopter somewhere back here. If we move around, it's important that you move around, otherwise you can't see anything. Yeah, that's our helicopter, and here are our things in the front. So you can place our text here. If you say like, yeah, it's kind of where I want it, but I have a good dot, so I don't need to do that. You can also, of course, go like over here from the side and say I want it in the front a bit, rotate it a little like that. And also I want it flying, so like that. Yeah, well, I should put it a bit over here, so in the middle of our camera. Yes, fine now. Going to customize our text like miwin. And some cool things you can, of course, do change the font. Right, have some pretty cool fonts in there. Acorn is a cool one, or this one. Yeah, and you can also put in the caps if you want to, and just size them down and make them round. Well, I don't really care about that. I want to show you how to import things like logos and stuff, because that's kind of more important. It's not that hard to make text. So we can see our text is motion tracked, and if I render it out, it's still there. So I'm going to import a logo. It's pretty easy to do that actually. You have to have your logo in an AI file. I have a tutorial. I think I have a tutorial on my channel about how to do that. That's AI file. That's an AI file, and I have some more somewhere. I don't know. So you can go on File, and there is an import or whatever it says up here. So it opens a folder again, and then you just click on your AI file. I'll just take my name. And now this is just the scale of it. So for now, just put something in and hit OK. I now can wait. I select one of my dots so I know where I want my text. And if I now see the text is pretty near to the dot, and it's pretty huge. So I'm gonna delete my text and import it again a bit smaller this time. About 1 centimeter should work, hopefully. Well, it's kind of big too. I'll scale it down again to 0.5, right? Now why I'm scaling it down like that is because I have a few different paths, and if I scale down the whole thing, it sometimes messes up. I don't know why. Sometimes it works. So next thing we do, if we have our text here, don't move it around. Go up here on this cube thing and put in extrude NURBS. Then put it in our folder and copy it through 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now drag the paths underneath them. So now, as you can see, we have everything 3D. Now, as you can see again, our middle point from the coordinates isn't really in the middle. So to change that, you can go over here and select the orange arrows. Now if you move those around, you see nothing changes, like only the arrows move. And we can drag them down here, kind of where the middle is. Then we can go back up here on the black arrows with the triangle, and if we move them now, you see it moves the text. I wanna enable the background again and select the dot and just copy in those numbers. There is another way to do that. I just don't know how. I once found it out, not sure. Select all, copy, no, and paste. Alright. Wait, our text is really that small. Oh wait. 100, 100, 100, 1. Alright, that should work. Now we can turn it around. You can already see our text fits in perfectly. Our logo. It's the same if you do it as a clan with a clan logo or whatever you want. Now can I go around a bit? Put it a bit back there. Have it over there. Oh wait, like that. That would look good, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. Now I want to put materials on it. But first of all, I want to make again the caps. Put it about on 2, I guess. 2 and 1. That would be okay. They're cool. There are a few very cool things you can do with the caps. So there are definitely some cool tutorials about that on YouTube. Yeah, that looks decent, I guess. Alright, so I'm going to put some materials on them, and as we can see, it pops over the box right here. That's something we do in After Effects afterwards. Change that. I have a few materials. I have a ton of presets actually. Where are my cool ones? Here is a cool one on maybe this one. I just drag it on there. See how it looks like, and change a few things right here. It looks decent. You can just hold control and put it on everything. Alright. So I have it on each letter now. And I'm gonna make this little thing here. I don't know which one it is. So number 2, I want to make it white. Yeah, like that. And then I want to make only the outside, like the caps, white. So to do that, I just type in R1 and it will make the front white and the back is still not colored. If I go zoom in, I can see the back is still not colored. So if I copy it again and put in R2, that's the back, I changed the color of the back. So it's a pretty cool effect, and I can just copy those to everything. Yeah. I want to put the dark one on the little thingy and put in R1 and R2. So that looks alright, but it looks unreal. Just it has something like, it doesn't look real. It doesn't look like it fits in there. And one important thing about that is the shadow. We need the shadow. It makes it look a lot more realistic. And maybe I'm going to do some reflections after that. So, because I'm at the materials right now, so I'm gonna continue with the materials and show you a few lightning things and how much I actually do for the lightning. So what I do to get some cool reflections is just go up here and put in a sky. And on the sky I'm dragging my background material. Now everything looks kind of messed up, so what I'm going to do is right click, Cinema 4D text, and put on a compositing tag. And now you want visible for camera, just uncheck that, and you have some cool reflections on here. As you can see, we don't have any in the front because it's not really reflective on the what is it called, grade we look into it. So we are going to change that too. I'm putting on a different material on the front. So make a new material. Make it go on reflection. Just turn it on for now. That's fine. And I'm going to drag it on my first thing. And as we can see, we have reflections on the front, but not how we would like them. So we're gonna put in. Oh wait, actually, let's delete this material. Copy this material. Just hold Control and drag it over there. And drag it on here, and we're going to change the reflection of that. So we're gonna make it a lot stronger, like this maybe. It looks decent actually. I'm gonna change that later. So what I can do to just have it on the front is type in here in the selection C1, so I just have it on the front, and you can copy the material and put in C2, so we have it on the back too. That's all we gotta do, but I will just put it on the front and now copy it on all these again. So we have it on the front of all of them. I'm gonna go in here and change the reflection a bit until I think it looks good. Let's actually put that one too. It's pretty weird. Well, let's make it like that. I'm going to put the relief off and then put it a bit down like that so it looks flat. Not sure how it's going to look like. Well, that looks decent, not really my favorite, but you can change around these settings and change the colors and everything if you want to, and you will get different results. Well, that's fine for now. You can see the text looks okay, and now we're working on a shadow. Now what many people tend to do is just add a floor, but the problem with that is if I have as example a text appears, so I have the floor at this point and one down here, so I should have the floor down here, but I also have it up there, so I'm just gonna add a plane because I can change the size of it. So what I'm going to do with the plane is just copy the coordinates of my little text thingy. Just right click and copy them, and then go on my plane and paste them in. Alright, I'm gonna rename that to plane shadow, so we can minimize that folder. Now it's a little too high, so now it's important to get out of our camera and disable the background again, because we can see our dots are kind of low there. So we're going to put it on them, kind of on the high of our dots, because that's where our floor actually is. Now what you can do too is just scale it up like this and scale it up like this, and now we need to put in a shadow, which is gonna put in a light, and drag it over there and rotate it. We can also copy those numbers, copy them and paste them in. Going to move that up a little bit higher actually. Now go back to our camera and enable our background. Now go on our light and put in the shadow, put in a soft shadow, and if we render it now, we can see we have a shadow down here. Our text looks really fucked up right now, but that doesn't really matter at the moment. What we want to do is go on our plane and put in our material, background material, change the thingy here to frontal, and right click it, Cinema 4D text, compositing, and disable the top one, enable the bottom one. Now that means it just looks like the background does, and we have our shadow kind of on our background. It looks alright, I'd say. So we're gonna disable that for the preview because it's kind of annoying. Now we're pretty much done with it. About the texturing, I'm going to show you something cool in a few seconds. So what we want to do now is find the start of our text. Like, we don't want to render it out from here, from frame 0 over to the last frame, because that will take a long time, and our text is actually visible the first time over here at frame 475. So we click on this thing here and put in the frame, make sure you're on the second one. I don't know what it means on English. Make sure you put in a number here where it's visible the first time, and then we're gonna put in this number here because that's the last frame. And now go to save, and what you want to make sure is you just search for a path, and wait, that's the wrong folder. Motion tracking tutorial. We want to make a new one, call it miwin shadow. Make a new folder, go in this folder and put in miwin shadow. Alright. So what you want to make sure, some people still render in AVI or something, which is really not smart. So change it to TIFF PSD. What this is going to do, it makes you a ton of pictures like it always does, and it's a lot better to work with those in After Effects. On things like this, if you render it out, we have a completely fill up image, but it's going to be important in a few seconds when I render that out. So now this time I only want to render the shadow without text. So what I'm going to do is, I could just disable the text for the render, but if I render it now, the shadow is gone too. So I want to right click on it, Cinema 4D text, compositing, and visible for camera. Now check that. Now we have our shadow and our text is gone. Now as we change these settings, and they are fine now, we can click on render. It's going pretty fast, actually decent. So I'm going to wait until this is done, and then I will continue. Alright guys, I'm back and the render is done, and I can continue now. And we have our nice motion track shadow there. So what we are going to do now, we just want to render the text. The good thing about this is also, if we have our text and shadow separate, we can change the color correction on our text, and we don't have to change it on the shadow or the background. So what we are going to do for that, we can just disable our plane and disable our background for the render. Go on here on miwin final, and check the camera, so it's visible for the camera. And also we want to turn off the light. So we have our text here. I want to change that a bit. It looks stupid as fuck. Right, I'm not sure what to do. Oh dear, I hope this looks good. I'll turn that off. Yeah, well, that looks decent. Now what we are going to do, we click up here and go to our settings again. That's fine, and because we had it before, and we just leave it like that. So in here we just make a new folder, call it miwin text, and type in miwin text. Now what we want to make sure is to check alpha channel, so it renders only the text and the background is transparent. Some people use green screens as background and stuff. It's just all waste of render time. We just want to check the alpha channel. So if you have some green and color things around your text afterwards, you probably checked straight alpha 2. You want to make sure you only checked alpha channel, right? So if we are done with that, we got just hit render again, and it renders really fast, as we can see. I'm just gonna pause it again, and then we head over to After Effects. Alright guys, I'm done with rendering this too, and I'm just gonna close that, saving, close Cinema 4D, and I'm going to head over to After Effects, right? So in After Effects, I'm going to right click over here and just click Import File, and now we select miwin shadow and just click on the first thing. Make sure on our first picture, and make sure you have TIFF sequence checked, and footage you can change that, and just hit open. We're going to do the same with our text. Just click the first one and import it again. Now something like this comes up. That's because the background is transparent. Just make sure straight unmated is checked and hit OK. Now we can drag both in here like that. And one important thing is to first of all scale them down. If you run it with 59.94 frames, you have to scale it down by, you just wait, I will show you again. You select both, go on time stretch and stretch factor of 50, so it's half as long. That's how we want it. We're going to select both, and we can see on here we started on frame 475. Now we could go through here and look at the frame to be there, or we just could hit Control and click on that one and type in 475 and hit enter, and it will just put us right there. And now we drag those over, hold shift, and it will lock them down here. Now our text is fine, just motion track right there. That's how we wanted it. Now it looks pretty cool actually. So at the beginning we have the problem that it appears in behind the box, and we don't want that, so we just copy that layer and cut it. Wait, I hope this works. What the hell? I really hope I can change now. Alright guys, I'm back. I'm not sure what happened. The recording program kind of messed up. So what I want to do is just split this layer or scale it down until here after we copied it. And then put it above those and now mask around here. Pretty easy to do actually. Just make the mask big enough and hit M on your keyboard and put in a keyframe. Now go back to this thingy. Now we don't want to use hotkeys anymore because it just messed up. Another keyframe. Right. Alright, so our clip could end over here. I'm kind of scared of splitting a layer. I'm just gonna cut it down. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Our text comes up, we fly around it, we enable our snow, we have our tutorial thingy down here. And we fly up here and we have all our snow, and we could also add a color correction onto it, which I'm going to do right now. Just to let you know, I normally only work with hotkeys, but yeah. This is a pretty long tutorial already, but I hope you could learn something. It's about 1 hour long tutorial about the whole motion tracking thing. But as long as you could learn something out of it, I'm pretty happy. I am actually. I'm just going to use a template. I normally don't like to do that. I like to do my own things, but yeah, for now it's fine. We're going to do something like that. I'll add something like that. Add a solid black layer, and yeah, just like that. Position it. Copy it first of all. Position it down, and the other one up. So that's it. We created a pretty cool cinematic, and I was talking a lot, and I tried to explain you as much as possible. So as you can see, I did that in like 1 hour. If I do that without explaining, I could do that in like just half hour. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Leave a rating if you liked it, and as I said before in the comments, I don't care if you hate, I will just delete the tutorials. Okay, bye.